Elsewhere, Japan and South Korea have announced separate sanctions targeting companies, vessels, or individuals allegedly involved in supplying North Korean weapons to Russia for use in Ukraine in violation of United Nations resolutions. The announcements come days before leaders of South Korea and Japan and China meet in Seoul, their first trilateral summit in nearly 5 years. North Korea has been accused of sending thousands of containers of munitions to Russia. In August, the U.S. Treasury Department imposed similar sanctions after it alleged that Russia was using up munitions and losing heavy equipment in Ukraine, forcing Moscow to turn to its few allies, including Pyongyang, for support. And Russian President Vladimir Putin is in Minsk for a 2-day visit, as well as joint security talks with Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko. During the meeting, Mr. Putin confirmed his intention to deliberate on the next phase of collaborative, non-strategic nuclear drills between Russia and Belarus. On the other hand, the Belarusian president asserted the importance of prioritizing security matters within their bilateral discussions. Earlier this month, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said the Russian Armed Forces General Staff had started preparing exercises with non-strategic nuclear weapons due to remarks made by politicians from France, the UK, and the United States, who mentioned readiness and intention to deploy armed forces to Ukraine. Let's get more on this. The VOA's Anna Chernikova is in Kyiv. Anna, great to see you. Yet another Russian strike on northeastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. We know at least 7 people were killed. Were there other casualties recorded?
Good evening. Well, at this point, no. This is the latest data, and the attack that happened. Basically, the attack on Kharkiv is happening every day, and one of the biggest and one of the worst in this past couple of weeks happened yesterday, with the publishing house was hit, and the casualties were recorded. Today, also the attacks continue, but at this point, the big attack, 7 people unfortunately were reported killed. Still, we cannot say that the city of Kharkiv is more safe today, because, as I said, the attack and the shelling is happening every day in this city, and from the very morning we're getting reports about more and more shelling of the city and more explosions which are heard, and the results of the explosions which are also recorded and reported.
And authorities say that, Russia struck the city at least 15 times, forcing President Zelenskyy to appeal for more air defense missiles. Are there worries that Russia is taking advantage of Ukraine's lack of air defenses?
Lack of air defense is really a big problem, and especially in this part of Ukraine, Kharkiv and Kharkiv region. And probably yes, we can say that at this point Russian forces have advantage in this from this perspective, because as you correctly said, this latest big attack included 15 missiles in a row. So Russian forces do have a lot and do have much more missiles and much more possibilities to hit Ukrainian territory than Ukraine has. And definitely air defense is an issue, as President Zelenskyy already said to the allies, and also is repeating every time he is meeting with international partners. And when Secretary Blinken was in Kyiv, also it was a long discussion on that Ukraine needs at least 2 additional air defense systems, preferably Patriot systems, to be allocated in Kharkiv and Kharkiv region.
And Japan and South Korea have announced sanctions over Russia-North Korea arms trade. Anna, are there possibilities Russian troops are indeed using these weapons on the battlefield in Ukraine?
It was confirmed by the Ukrainian security service that Ukrainian intelligence that Russian forces used North Korean missiles in Ukraine. At this point, there is confirmation about the missiles, and one of the missiles that was used was actually attacking and hitting certain facilities and areas in the city of Kyiv. And when this attack happened, it was something more than a month ago. The debris of the missile were found and analyzed, and this is when the first confirmation came in and was announced publicly that this was a North Korean missile. Also in the Kharkiv region, it was already recorded the use of this kind of missile. So this is what we know at this point. Maybe there are more, maybe not, but at this point we just have information about the missiles, and it looks like, at least according to international certain international sources, mostly intelligence, which is a British intelligence or U.S. intelligence. In some of the reports, also there is information that it might be that North Korea actually increase the export of the weapons to Russia, and it looks like that this has something to be the real case scenario.
And there is continuing support for Ukraine. The United States is expected to announce an additional $275 million in military aid for Ukraine today. Any word on when the previous aid package is expected to arrive?
So this new announcement will come under this big package that was approved by the Congress. So it's really something that Ukraine is waiting for pretty much, especially soldiers at the battlefield. According to the information we have at this point, certain weapons have already arrived and are in use on the battlefield. Some weapons is still ongoing. So I think that this announcement is just the reassurance that more is coming, because Ukraine needs much more than it already received. It was quite a big pause with military aid delivery. So definitely Ukraine now needs time to get as much as possible in order to make sure that the lack of this weapons and equipment is stabilized. There is a big hope that most of the aid will arrive soon, maybe in the upcoming weeks. But again, we don't have a precise information about when exactly this will be this aid will be delivered. And also, of course, Ukraine is waiting very much for the F-16 jets. But this also is the negotiations and discussions are ongoing, and it looks like that there is a chance for Ukraine to get it by the end of this year. But again, this is something that Ukraine is still waiting for, and when all of this aid is in Ukraine, then we can probably have certain analysis of how Ukraine is using all this weapon together. So when everything together is available for Ukraine.
And finally, Anna, any update or word on the joint security talks between Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Belarusian counterpart?
What we are hearing that the meeting took place, and that some sources report that some sources again, this is something we cannot verify independently and confirm, but there are reports that the plane of a former Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych, who was president who fled the country in 2014 when the revolution restoration of dignity took place was also in Belarus. No, there is no information either he was also present at the meeting or not. But President Putin during the meeting said that the legitimacy of President Zelenskyy is under question now because, this week was 5 years of President Zelenskyy presidency, and if there is no war in Ukraine, then Ukraine would have held elections. But because of the war, according to constitution, Ukrainian constitution, elections is not possible. It's not possible to hold the election, so president will remain in office until the end of the war. And President Putin said during the meeting with Lukashenko in Belarus that there are questions, and now there is a question, as he said, who to talk to when the time for talks come. But again, this was something also expected, and in Ukraine it was discussed that probably President Putin will use this narrative to say that President Zelensky's legitimacy is under question. However, according to Ukrainian constitution, it is not. So, we'll see how all this will evolve.
Right. Anna, thank you once again.
Thank you.